Hello everyone, it's me Ryan and welcome back to my EastEnders official YouTube channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. George was genuinely thrown for a loop when Eddie and Gloria showed up in Walford. According to the most recent EastEnders spoilers, the letter confronts Eddie about a brand new Minake. Will George be able to take it on and win, or will he have to give it to Eddie's demands and concede? Take a deep breath and discover. EastEnders spoilers hint that George Knight's trials and hardships appear from dawn. He was persuaded to open out to his daughters by Cindy, a line in the recently aired episodes. George so revealed to Gina and Anna the truth about their ancestry. In addition, the information them to Eddie's actions and the upcoming trial, the girls were appalled by the truth, as one might anticipate. Later, when Gloria called the bar in an attempt to pressure George into appearing at Eddie's trial and serving as a character witness, things become more worse for George. According to EastEnders spoilers, and encourage George went to see Gloria and Eddie to tell them he was done with them. Additionally, he forbade them from contacting him or his family even ever again. Unfortunately, Eddie refused to accept it in a countermove. He informed George that he had his birth mother's contract information, would only grant it if George assisted him in the trial. According to the most recent EastEnders spoilers, George is currently in a difficult situation. His DNA test results were returned with no matches or leads. Eddie is still the only one who can possibly help him reunite with his birth mother. The same man who killed his father by birth. What comes next? It is revealed by certain spoilers that George ultimately chooses to attend the trial. Will he actually say that Eddie needs to hear? George actor Colin Salmon declared to the press that he values finding his family above all else, especially in light of the knowledge that his father returned in search of him. Does this imply that George will give in to Eddie's demands? Is Eddie being completely honest about his knowledge of his mother's whereabouts? Even if he does, time will tell. George was desperate to find the mysterious woman he saw in court after revealing his adoptive father Eddie Knight to be a murderer and bigot. George thought the woman was his biological mother from whom he had been raised apart. However, with the definitive confirmation of his mother's identity came some devastating news regarding her verified death. When George discovered the truth about his upbringing and how he had lived apart from his parents before discovering he had two hidden brothers, he was equally astounded. Everything started when Eddie George's adoptive father went on trial for killing Henry. George's biological father. In exchange for information on where George could locate his biological mother, he had blackmailed George into testifying against him in court. Eddie acknowledges that he had lied and that he had no information about her when George revealed Eddie to the jury. After locating the woman he would see in court on Wednesday, George asked her if she was his mother. When George informed her that Eddie had killed Henry in order to prevent his father from returning him to Ghana, she was saddened to learn that this was not the truth. At the moment he learned of his mother's fate and how Eddie had deceitfully misled her into believing Henry had left with George. The woman introduced herself as George's mother, friend and former co-worker, Angela. After having difficulty in her studies, Margaret Abina Asare, a former nurse, and Henry took George to the UK to be temporarily adopted by Knights, according to Angela. Henry and Margaret, referred to as Abina by those who know her, were declined entry into the United Kingdom. When they attempted to retrieve their son after settling in Ghana, while describing his parents struggling to get him back, Angela verified that Henry was allowed to go after an appeal. When Abina contracted Eddie after Henry and George did not show up, she was cruelly misled into believing that Henry had taken George and left with their kid. It seems that George's mother gave up looking for her husband since she thought he would never come back, had fled with their child. However, Angela disclosed that her friend never stopped loving and missing her kid, and she hoped he was content. Before displaying a photo of George's two younger brothers as kids, Angela showed him one of his mother after telling George that his birth mother had tragically died 4 months earlier following a procedure illness. Angela questioned whether her shock and grief over Henry's real destiny had caused her to give up. She volunteered to look for the brothers and bring them back to George, but the heartbroken character declined, still reeling from the great news and the loss. Stay connected to get more George sad and more information about George and about his family and brothers. What happened next? Let's see in the next video.